Hey guys, this is John and I'm playing Lego Coffee in a 15 plus 10 game on chess.com. Let us open with d4. So 1915. I was trying to click on this player's open seek on the graph, but I was unable to get the game going for some reason, so I ended up just challenging them directly. So Lego Coffee, two of my favorite things. Certainly the coffee part now as an adult, even though I'm saying that with tea in my hand, herbal tea. But I was a big Lego fan as a kid, too. Okay, the Dutch, f5. I have some interesting ways to play against this. I've done a lot of things against the Dutch. Knight c3, just the main line, knight f3, g3. But I am kind of interested in what they're going to do against this so-called Korchnoi gambit. h3 with the idea of going g4. He very quickly plays b6. Okay. This is not an approach I've seen before, fianchettoing the bishop. I've had opponents play d5 and knight f6 before, but never b6. So the idea of this is to open the king side and play g4, of course. And g4, bishop b7, knight f3 looks fine for me. So let's go ahead and pop this move off. Not often you see me playing h3 and g4 on moves 2 and 3. Okay, bishop b7, so I can play knight f3 to block the attack on the rook. d5 also makes some sense, although I don't know if I like d5 here. Black might be able to respond with knight f6. So I think I somewhat prefer to put the knight on f3, just a good developing move. I don't think I fear a trade if black wants to go that route. Okay, black plays e6. Yeah, so they're probably not going to be taking here and letting me get this half-open h-file. So I could take on f5, certainly. I could also play something to keep the tension, knight c3 or bishop f4. Decent moves. And I may want to keep the tension for a move or so. I think black will probably play knight f6 next. I think probably the best way to develop here is knight c3, bishop f4, e3, and maybe put the bishop on d3. Just deciding if I want to do that right away or take on f5, if there's any sort of benefit to taking on f5 early. I think either way, black's likely to put this knight in here. Put the knight in on the e4 square. Yeah, I think I'm going to play just knight c3. Now, I've mentioned before that the c-pawn and the knight are often in a relationship, and a happy relationship involves the pawn in front of the knight, and this can sometimes be indicative of a poor relationship. But that doesn't apply to all positions, like certainly in the e4 openings. Okay, and black surprises me by taking there. Certainly in the e4 openings, you make an exception, but yeah, usually in the closed or semi-closed openings, especially the queen's gambit positions, by default, you're putting the pawn on c4 and looking to play the knight to c3 behind. Okay, bishop, knight to f6. All right, so I'm kind of happy by this turn of events because I like the fact that I have the half-open h-file to attack down now. Black is threatening this pawn. So g5 suggests itself here. g5, knight e4. And maybe then something like queen d3 appeals to me. Black might play bishop b4. I can even play g6, although black will probably play h6 against that. g5, knight e4. Knight takes e4 is just another way of playing. Bishop takes e4, and then say e3, looking to play bishop d3 thereafter. The black might check and then castle. Yeah, this bishop is likely to pop out to b4, I think, and pin my knight if it gets a chance. Knight e5 is an interesting idea to try to come to g6, but it doesn't work right away because bishop takes h1 is possible. Still, though, I don't think I want to waste time playing rook g1. I think g5 would just be the default way to play this position. I see kind of an interesting way to play. Maybe g5, knight e4, queen d3, and at bishop b4, perhaps rook h4. Quite a creative rook move. I think I like that. Yeah, let's play g5. Go ahead and do it. And if knight e4, queen d3, knight takes c3, I'll just play b takes c3 so I can keep my queen trained against that h7 weakness. You might be wondering what I'm going to do with my king. I'm definitely going to be keeping it in the center for a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead and play the move I intended. But I might very well castle queenside as well. Black could support the knight with d5, but that does give me the e5 square, and it also blocks back Black's bishop from being able to exert its influence down this diagonal. So I kind of think bishop b4 is what Black will do here. g5 is protected twice, so no worries there. I'm doing a rare early recording today. It's about 4:30 p.m. my time. Okay, bishop b4. Yeah, and rook h4 I think is a nice little move here. Again, g6, I don't think I want to rush g6 because h6 will probably be the answer. So let's lift the rook. But yeah, I'm doing a rare early recording. In about an hour, I'm going to a get-together, a little dinner get-together with members of the Minnesota Blizzard. That's our Pro Chess League team. Wesley So will be there. He lives here in our state. Andrew Tang, Mauricio Flores, other members of our team. Should be a good time. Okay, I have queen b5 check here, but Black can block with knight c6 and save the bishop, so that doesn't seem productive. I'd definitely like to get rid of this knight if I could. But it's a little tricky at the moment. Bishop d2. Bishop d2, maybe threatening to take and then play queen b5. Black may take with the bishop on c3, and I'll still have this knight to deal with. Another move here is bishop h3 if I just want to attack this pawn and see what Black does. Also knight e5. I mentioned knight e5. I should definitely look at that again, because that very well may be a good move here. Yeah, knight e5, which does a couple things, actually. It may make queen b5 a stronger threat, because on knight c6 I have two attackers on that square. So in turn, it may destabilize this bishop here. And also, it has this idea of playing knight g6 and trying to use the pin on the h-file. Okay, so knight e5. Maybe I don't even address the c3 issue. Bishop d2 feels a little bit lame to me. I like bishop d2 better if Black hadn't played d5. Although, granted, I was threatening rook takes e4. But yeah, as it stands, I think I like this move. I don't think I have to be too worried about knight takes g5. And I can play queen b5 check. At minimum, I can take on g5 and then take h7 is probably good. So I somehow feel like knight e5 is going to put Black under pressure here. Knight e5 if knight d7, let's say. Maybe knight g6 as planned. Yeah, rook g8, rook takes h7. Got to be better there. Maybe some counterplay coming for Black, but feels suspicious. Okay, let's play it. See what happens. If Black tries to castle and relieve the threat of knight g6, I think f3 is going to be... Okay, queen e7. A very quick queen e7, but that seems to walk straight into my plan here. Knight g6. Yeah, I don't see too many other moves. Well, there's also queen check to consider, but the queen is now defending the bishop, I should mention. So knight g6 is probably going to be my move. Yeah, check. Black can play knight d7. I could take on d7. And queen takes would run into queen takes b4, but Black might throw in bishop takes c3 check at some point. But knight g6, on the other hand, just looks like a strong counter to me. Yeah, don't need to get involved with f3 or anything. Just double checking to see if I've missed something, because Black played this so fast, but it seems to be just a bad move. Let's do it. I don't see anything I'm missing here. Ah, is there this? Ah, there's queen f7. Oh, man. Right as I said, what am I missing? Queen f7 and the attack on f2. Okay, I can play knight back to f4, but that's not what I wanted. Yeah, wow. Queen takes f2, and if king d1, queen takes f1 is actually checkmate. So I don't know that black planned that. I kind of think they didn't plan that, but yeah, wow. I might have to play knight f4 here. And this is a whole new ball game now. Because now they might be able to play knight takes g5. I mean, granted I can play f3 too, but f3 queen takes here, doesn't feel right. Take. Black might be able to take on e4 in the end. Although, I may want to consider it. Okay, so I probably didn't blunder check my last move closely enough. I saw it like right after I moved. Classic situation in chess. So let's see how I adjust to this. I usually like to spend a little bit more time than usual on these decisions. Right after you've been surprised. I'm trying to think if there's any value in playing this move too. Rook takes e4. Pawn takes e4, then check here. Try to buy time to play knight takes h8. That's so weird. I mean, maybe. I do notice on this, black might be able to just take on g6. Bonkers position already. Yeah. I mean, queen takes e4 is another move that crosses my mind, but takes, I probably just don't have enough for the queen there. My knight's also liable to get trapped. Okay, so I think my choices are between knight f4 here and f3 and rook takes e4. I mean, not an easy decision between those moves. I feel like f3, queen takes g6, take here, take here. Queen b5 always met by knight c6. That doesn't seem terrible, but it doesn't seem super promising either. Black's ready to castle queenside. Knight f4 keeps more tension, maybe with g6 in mind, but the thing about knight f4 is I'm not sure what to do if black just takes on g5. Maybe I play knight takes d5 in reply. It's possible. Yeah, actually, that's probably the way to go here. Let's do that. Yeah, gotta block the attack down on f2. Yeah, I think my opponent's speed in playing queen e7 actually convinced me that they had just blundered. It may very well be the case that black didn't intend that and just found queen f7 right at the last moment, but weird stuff. Okay, rook f8. Black continuing to play fast here. I mean, rook f8 also seems quite sketchy to me. Can take here. Black's going to take g5, I guess. I can play g6 if I want to jettison this pawn. This knight is supported by the bishop, so no worries there for the moment. Bishop h3, knight takes g5 doesn't seem that appetizing. Yeah, I think I'm definitely deciding between rook takes h7 and maybe f3. But f3, knight takes g5, I'm not seeing what I'm getting there. Knight takes d5, knight takes f3 check. Looks pretty marginal. I think I'm just going to take on h7. Expecting knight takes g5 here. And then I'll move the rook. Maybe rook h5. Attack the knight and try to put the rook on e5. Very weird location for that piece. But it would attack e6 twice. My knight is actually pretty stable on f4. So I kind of like it on that square, even though I didn't intend to put it there. I also really liked it on e5, to be fair. Yeah, knight takes g5, rook h5. I got to play a little bit quicker. We do have that increment, but I spent some time in the opening. It's been complicated. Yeah, rook h5, knight e4, rook e5. Maybe bishop d6 against that. Rook takes e6, king d8, something along those lines. Looks complicated. I do somehow feel that's good for me, though. Not 100% sure. I mean, rook h5, knight e4, rook e5, g5 is another move. Trying to get at f2, even though I can take e6. I don't know if I have a good follow-up after taking e6. Maybe rook h5, knight e4, bishop h3. Just to attack the e6 point. Try to get more pieces involved. I mean, there too, black can think about just g5. g5 I take on e6, though. Kind of seems like that may work out well, but it's still so complicated all of a sudden. I do feel like that line should be decent for me, though. Okay, let's play rook h5. Again, this knight is supported. That knight is in turn supporting my rook. It looks a little bit shaky, but with the knight on f4 guarded so many times, I don't think black can exploit it. Okay, so now a moment of truth here. Do I play bishop h3? I can't play something fancy like this, hoping for rook e5, because again, I get mated here. So I need to attack e6 in a different way if I'm going to attack it. And I'm kind of leaning towards bishop h3 now. Just the one move I'm not certain about is g5. And then let's say bishop takes e6. Queen f6. I was thinking maybe give a check here and try to pick up the bishop. Black may throw in bishop takes c3 somewhere there too. Man. Now f3 runs into knight g3, although maybe I don't mind that so much if I just play my rook to e5 at that point, but this is quite a confusing position. Could play bishop e3. Bishop e3 might be a decent move to threaten knight takes e6, but black gets a chance to play knight c6. Now, I feel like I got to strike like right now. I think I blundered again, though. Is there knight takes f2? Nah, maybe not. Maybe I have check here. Or bishop takes c3 and then knight takes f2? With the idea king takes f2, queen takes h5? Yeah, black's going to take. It won't be an absolute disaster if black takes here, because I have other moves I can play like queen g6. But it is a nice little shot. Okay, black plays g5 instead. Yeah, that move also is critical. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe take here and then play f3. Still can't move that knight, because queen takes here and then queen g1, or even queen f1 actually to mate. And that knight on e4 is still pesky. Okay, let's go ahead and take. So queen f6, maybe f3. Then knight g3 is possible. Majorly complicated. Thinking about other moves too. So queen here, maybe bishop a3 deserves attention too. Just trying to go after f8. Maybe that's a better way to play it. But black can take with a queen on f4. And renew that very annoying threat down on f2. I would like to take here right now, but bishop takes. And again, the knight is pinned. f3, I'm not sure what to do about knight g3. Maybe I play bishop a3 then. Okay, f3 looks almost forced, though, here in a weird way. Queen h3, I guess, is one other move I'm considering. Queen h3 takes rook h6. But I don't know. Yeah, let's go ahead and play f3. So if black takes here, I take. They can't take the bishop because of rook e5. Like, that's nice to know. But knight g3 is definitely a possibility. This time disadvantage, pretty huge. Okay, bishop here. Not a move I was expecting, but it makes sense. So hitting the queen if I play c4. So black's idea, I think, is if queen e3, they're going to take here. So c4 might be forced. c4 here, queen over. Pretty weird queen placement by me. What about knight takes d5 here? Can I do that? Knight takes d5, they take, I take here, check. Ooh, I feel like I should be able to come out of that okay material-wise. They can take with a rook, but at the end the knight is hanging. Actually, this move may be good. I don't have much time left, but just instinctively, I'm going to go with it. Instinctively and a little bit of calculation, too. I don't think I'm going to lose a piece. Oh, no, I will lose a piece. Man, I'm missing so much in this game. Okay, I might have some pawns for it, but... yeah, bishop takes here, take, check, take, and they're on my rook. Man. So many threats. Can I play this way? That would be really funny. Queen here, take. But they can go attack my rook. That's probably speculative. But then I have moves like rook h7. What is going on? This game is madness, guys. Okay, if I take, I'm down a piece. Yeah, I think queen g6, though, is too much. If it wasn't for queen g6, maybe I could get away with this. But the alternative is taking here and then having to play rook takes g5 or something, which I don't really like. You know what? This game is trending poorly for me. I'm going to take and roll the dice and see what happens. Queen g6, maybe bishop g4. I can try to get g5, the c7 pawn. It's very speculative, but I'm kind of getting worked otherwise, I think. I've been missing so much in this game, so I feel I need to sharpen it. Could take the knight and then try to take c7, but I feel like I'm so down in development, that's not going to work. So let's play it like this. Idea, knight f6, take here. Try to play for an attack. Okay, he takes on c3. So take g5 or take c7 and go after the rook in the corner. Let's go for the rook. And where will black put the king? I don't know. Their king is pretty open. Okay, I could play rook takes g5 here, but well, maybe. Let's try it. Okay, this is where the time disadvantage really hurts, though. So I'm attacking in an extremely sharp position, but I don't know what's going to happen here. Needless to say. Okay, queen d6. Yep. Bishop h5, maybe. Rook f5. I'm going to take the sure thing. I'm not sure, though. Check. I'm going to go here. Try to escape. Might have been nice to keep that knight, but I just had no time to figure it out. Try to get some material back. Take d4. Okay. All right, let's pin. Queen g1, go here. I do worry about queen here, though. That may just be a good move. Yeah, queen there. Yeah, knight e4. Slipping away. Yeah. Probably once they take here, that'll be too much. Still got a couple bishops and some random attacking chances, but looks very bad. Black moves the king, they'll be threatening queen takes g4. That's one important point. They're just going for the material. Makes sense. Yeah, hard to save that knight or even bother black too much here. I guess I'm going to just give the knight and try to do something against their king, but I can't even check on c7 is one issue. But okay, let's see what happens when I bring the rook into c6. Yeah, just looking to create some generic threats against that black king, but not getting my hopes up, that's for sure. Okay, let's give it a check. Just see where that king steps. I'm thinking maybe play rook e6 after that. Try to anchor the e-pawn. Black has checks on the back rank, but I think I shouldn't get mated immediately. Thing is, I kind of would like to keep both my bishops on the board for the attack, but black would probably be happy to trade, say, the dark square bishop for the rook, and should be winning otherwise. I do have a few pawns in the center, but if this knight joins the attack, black has a majority over here. Some sort of simplification like that should be just winning for black. Yeah, knight c5, that's a good move. Attacks the rook. Okay. Let's try to go here and give a check here, or maybe bishop f6 again. Rook e7, king g6, I didn't see anything there. Okay, rook h2, just diving in. So now there's a back rank threat, that's for sure. And if check, he's going to play king g6. Yeah, that seems pretty decisive. Not much to do against that one. I think just rook takes e2 and I can pretty much resign here. Maybe play bishop h6 just to see. But I think he can dance away this way. If he goes king h7, I have bishop f5. And that would be a really bad mistake for black. But not getting my hopes up once again. Anyway, with bishop f6, maybe I can cause some issues. Okay, maybe bishop f6 gives me slightly better swindling chances here. Just to see if he steps onto like the h6 square. Yeah, he went there. I think that's definitely correct. And that should be it. Yeah, don't see anything. I'm going to resign. Okay. I lose 76 points in that game. My rapid rating taking a hit. So congratulations to Lego Coffee. Whoa, they went up a lot in rating. Maybe they were provisional. Yeah, I did not play well that game. 4 mistakes, 3 blunders. I thought I had essentially a winning position out of the opening, but queen e7. Queen e7 strangely addressed the threat of knight g6, and even though I said that I wanted to blunder check after that move, it seems that after this I was not doing so hot. Maybe over-optimistic play, but I feel like I kind of was attacking in the proper way here, and it just never really worked out. I didn't see bishop a6. Did not see that. I mean, this is already an incredibly volatile position, and I had little time on my clock, so I think I set myself up for problems time management-wise, probably right here. So, yeah, I think I spent a little too long on knight f4, because in hindsight, knight f4, there's not too many other candidate moves. Like f3 was one other move I was considering. Yeah, this is sometimes what you get by playing this opening. But then again, as I was saying, I'm going to look at it with a computer, but I thought the opening went pretty well. I was really liking my position after rook h4. Just the tactics did not go well for me after this. I mean, credit to my opponent because he waded through this tactical mess pretty nicely. Yeah, at first I thought this, knight takes d5, was actually a decent shot. But you can see when I played that, I had just a little over a minute left on my clock. And yeah, the problem here is if knight takes f6, knight takes, and he's on my rook. I mean, I guess perhaps I should play this position, but this felt losing. Down a piece for just a pawn. I don't think black's king is open enough that I can really hurt him here. This might be the thing to do to mitigate the damage, though. So what will I check? You know, I had this game in the Climbing the Rating Ladder series, Banco Befuddlement, where it was another sharp opening, and I burned a lot of time. Very similar storyline to this game. I had a hard time predicting my opponent's moves. And I feel like in this one, I have an even better position to work with, but I could be overestimating it. I could be overestimating my attack here. But it's hard to believe queen e7 is a decent move. But hey, if knight g6 doesn't work, I don't see off the top of my head what's wrong with that move. And again, queen b5, just not quite as effective here because let's say black plays knight d7. This bishop is defended by the queen. Okay, I'm going to have to run like real soon, so you know, typically I might do a little bit more self-analysis before turning on the engine, but let's click over to the analysis board. Pull this up. Yeah, so the Korchnoi Attack, looking to play g4 and destabilizing f5. I've actually played this in a tournament game before against like a 2200 FIDE player. And I won, but it was a messy game and I was losing at one point. But it is pretty fun. I mean, the main line against the Dutch is knight f3, g3, bishop g2, and black has various options. They can play the classical, Simon Williams favorite. They can play the Leningrad Dutch. they can play the Stonewall with d5, e6, c6, setting up, yeah, that Stonewall pawn formation. Yeah, I've never seen b6 as an approach here. I've almost always seen d5 or knight f6, as I was saying. I mean, I don't think black should get too greedy and take the pawn. So, like, for instance, if after g4, so let's say knight f6, g4, black does take twice, I think this gives white what they want. I've had a couple games recently where I played e4. You could also try to attack the knight with bishop h3 or even just knight f3 first. White's looking to play kind of like a Benko gambit, but on the king side where black's already a bit vulnerable because they move their f-pawn on move 1. But yeah, b6 I've never seen. So I went ahead and played g4. I guess I could transpose into something of a London system here, bishop f4. I've already played a convenient London move. I have seen people do this before who play h3 on move 1. So not completely out of the question, but, you know, I'm not going to play h3 on move 2 and then not play g4 when given the chance on the next move. So, okay, it went like this, and then e6, just defending the pawn. Yeah, and I played knight c3. Already a very flexible position. I mean, we're only 4 moves into the game, and this may be a new position. We might be in novel territory here. So black took, and then played knight f6, and this seemed to invite g5, as I was saying. g5, knight e4. Okay, queen d3 seems all right. The engine also considers taking and then rook h4 to be decent. Given how many problems this knight caused for me on e4, I can see why taking is compelling. But all right, I played queen d3. To me, this looks normal. g5's guarded. So take, yeah, rook h4. Anything else to consider here? Engine likes bishop g2. Also just a3. It's giving already a pretty healthy advantage to white. So why does it like bishop g2 so much? I mean, preparing knight e5 maybe? To try to fight back on this long diagonal? Yeah, it does prepare knight e5. I think rook h4 is decent. I don't have too many regrets about that move, though. Yeah, and d5, and now I jumped in. And here is where things started to go astray for me, because black played queen e7, and I quickly played queen g6, but yeah, it seems to be just a bad move. And f3, on the other hand. Yeah, that makes sense. f3. Drive away the knight, because then I might still have knight g6 in many cases. Yeah, like let's say there's a capture here, and the bishop moves. Now I can get this in. There may be some complications with bishop g3. I also have just rook takes h7 here too, if I want to go after that pawn. But yeah, knight g6. The fact that queen f7, knight takes, is now possible hitting the queen is a pretty big difference. Whereas before I was running into f2 problems. Ooh, yeah, that looks nice. I guess I should look at that bishop a6 move too that black hit me with later in various forms, but I think if black plays it too early, it's not a problem because I can just move my queen over to e3. Still, I probably should have been aware that bishop a6 could be played around here. Yeah, and you can see that eval starts to go south. Still not bad, though. Queen f7, rook takes e4. That is a move I was considering. But yeah, f3, I think in hindsight, looks much, much better. Drive away the knight. What about knight takes g5 here? Knight takes g5. Can I even play queen g6 against that move? That would be a funny line. I was thinking about this. With the idea of take here, check, and I'm controlling the flight squares. Queen f8, I can take the queen and then take g5. But black has knight f7, and black defends. Yeah, knight g6, queen f7, and now there's no evals in the positive for white, or if they are, very slimly so. I played knight f4. Rook takes e4. Yeah. Thought about this bailout option. Trying to remember why I rejected this. Maybe just because a queen takes g6 and I was unwilling to trade the queens here. Because now it looks like I'm going to have to move the rook. I think that's why I rejected it. Okay, so I played knight f4. Still a sharp position, though. Black played rook f8. I took h7. And black took g5. Okay, and yeah, I played rook h5. Engine approves it. Here. Bishop h3. Okay. So now we're back into maybe liking my position. But in fairness, when I played this, I was not able to calculate all the consequences. And actually, right after I played it, I thought it might be a mistake because of this move. And then I realized, and the idea of knight takes f2, by the way, is if takes, queen takes h5, and I'm pinned down the h-file. But then I realized I would have queen b5 check here. So, yeah, black played bishop takes c3, which seems to make sense as far as knight takes f2 is concerned. But then they played bishop a6 after this. Or sorry, they played g5. And then bishop a6 to come. But yeah, what would happen if knight takes f2 here? I was mentioning I could just trade queens if I wanted. Queen g6. Engine also says queen g3 is fine. Actually gives a healthy advantage to white here. Here, take. Okay, so even though I just lost a pawn, I can try to attack e6. And yeah, black is underdeveloped. That's a nice line. Bishop c8, undeveloping. Rook takes d5. And here, go take this. That is a nice line. Wow. So knight takes f2 may not be good for black. So he played g5. And now I felt like I had to play bishop takes e6. Because again, this knight is always pinned. If ever this happens, there's actually a nice checkmate here. With the back rank mate. The knight controlling d2. So bishop takes e6, queen f6. And I had little time left at this point. I played f3. And then was surprised when this move was played. Alternatives here. No, f3. Queen f3 is listed as another move. Queen f3 looks very counterintuitive to me. So is the idea queen f3 here to take d5? Yep, bishop takes d5, trying to destabilize this diagonal leading towards the rook on a8. And if take, my rook swings over. Knight's under attack. I guess I have rook e5 and queen takes a8 coming. Oof. So I played f3. Yeah, and here I was mentioning c4. c4 was the move I was going to play until I saw knight takes d5 and thought maybe I had a chance with knight takes d5. Okay, so actually... Oh, man. The computer says this position's equal after queen g6. Wow. Well, it definitely wasn't equal on the clock. All right, it actually says I can take here. Knight takes. This was the line I rejected because it just seemed like I was down too much material, but... Okay, rook h6, bishop takes h2, and bishop takes g5, or bishop a3 even. Bishop a3, and this rook has trouble finding a decent square because I'm controlling h8. I was actually wondering about that in this line, rook takes g5. I kind of just assumed, if black played knight takes f6, I would want to play rook takes g5 to try to get a pawn for it. But then, if this happens and bishop a3, the rook can always go to h8, although I see here the computer still thinks that white is better. So, hard to criticize my decision at this point too much because I was in such bad time pressure and I was loath to play a position down a piece, but I guess knight takes f6 provides decent compensation. Okay, but here too, I'm still in the positive. It's just, yeah, I don't know if I should go for this position when I have such little time. Bishop here, black took c3. Yeah, now I went for knight takes c7. So black's trying to offer me an interesting choice. Like, do you take the knight, like keep it kind of closer to the action, or do I go for the rook in the corner? And it looks like I correctly went for the rook in the corner. And then correctly took here. But I did not find my way after this. I did not find the way through the mess of complications. I think black played really well after this. Unless I missed something, I think black played extremely well to punish me. So how does this line go? Okay, I took on a8. I let my time tick down and I took on a8. So better was to play bishop h5 check. Yeah, I saw this move, but I couldn't make it work. Although I'm seeing now if king f6, there's rook g6. That's actually a pretty important point. And these two squares are unavailable for the king. So yeah, if this happens, I should be winning. That makes sense, because I'm going to win the queen and then win the rook on a8. And that actually be up a piece there and a bunch of pawns, even though I might have to give the piece back in the corner. So bishop h5, black would have to go here. Oh, wow. Rook check. Okay, king d8. Is it bishop g5 now? Lots of bishop moves playable here. Bishop g4, bishop a3, bishop g5. Wow. Wow, bishop a3 is an interesting idea. Yeah, these are all like +3 territory for white. I guess a pretty forcing one is check, drive the king over here. Notice the bishops working side by side. Drive the king over here, bishop g4. Yeah, and if the king escapes this way, he's stepping right into a pin. So knight d7. Okay, here I could take. I'm not going to play a move like rook c1 in time pressure, I would think. Wow, yeah, maybe have a chance to just simplify down. If I could get to this, this would be heaven. This would be winning. Up 3 pawns. Yeah, bishop h5. That was the move. Okay. I don't recall if I missed that king f6 could be met by rook takes rook to g6 check with the skewer. I might have just flat out missed that. Yeah, and after this, it's still reading zeros across, but not a situation you want to be in at all under time pressure. Yeah, bishop h5, it does flow pretty forcing from here. It requires an accurate couple of moves, the first 2 moves here, but after this, I think even with limited time on my clock, like I can see why bishop g5 is good. Move like bishop a3, flashier, also really strong. The idea of that, skewer the queen and the rook, and note queen g3 is not possible because I take it. So there's a nice mate here. If queen takes a3, it's mate in 2. Knight e6, king c8, rook c7 mate. Controlling all these flight squares. The rook defended. That would be a nice mate. Okay. Crazy, crazy stuff. Okay, knight takes a8. Yeah, queen takes d4. That put me in a tough spot. I played bishop b2. I actually saw what black was going to do, but I didn't see a real good way to get out of this. I also saw black might be threatening knight takes e2. Computer says check. And check again. Claims it might have some sort of perpetual going back and forth here. Yeah, it's just so hard to calculate that. I guess if the king pops out here, I have various checks too, huh? Like if the king goes to e8, I can suddenly get my knight back in the game with check. And if the king goes to e7, maybe include the bishop. Yeah, bishop a3, which is winning for white, actually. Ooh, okay. So even at this late stage, big chances for me. Rook f5. Yeah, that's funny. Like rook f5, if black goes here, in time pressure, I'd probably give another check. And it's actually really hard for black to escape the perpetual along the F, G, and H files. Yeah, bishop b2, and black found a really good move in reply here, queen b4. I was hoping they'd be tempted into this check, and then I was going to go king d2, and my rook is defended, and things may turn in my favor again, but no, queen b4. Yeah, queen b4 really hurts. Attacking the bishop, which I don't have a good defense, and if I take, big problem is there's a fork here at the end on the king and the rook. So I went back, but this must be losing. Yeah, check. Pretty crushing from here. Do I have any chances? Can try the same thing, I guess, although it's probably not the same when black can go here and I don't have my bishop involved. It's involved this way, but I'd rather have it involved this way so it could support a check from with the rook from g5. Here. Yeah, this should be winning. Yeah, check. Black can kind of dance out of this. King h6 here, here, running out of checks. So I played the bishop back to c1, just kind of out of lack of anything else to do. And yeah, this now should be losing. I lost one of my prime attacking pieces, that rook. Black played knight a6, developing, and this knight is trapped. And I tried to get some last-ditch thing going against the enemy king, but unless I majorly missed something, which I don't think I did, this is a losing position. Bishop f6 here, king e7. Too much stuff under attack. Even if I take the rook, he takes here. So played rook c6. Yeah, rook h2 was a nice move. There's no reason for black to check on the back rank and allow my king to come up. So yeah, rook h2, very good move, threatening queen b1 mate. I tried something last ditch, last little trap, bishop f6. If bishop h6, black would not want to step this way because I have bishop f5. Although this also seems to win. King g8, check, escape out here. So I checked on f6, hoping black would go king h6 and I might be able to play this and skewer the queen, but was not to be. Yeah, just played king f8, good move, and if I check here, he'll play king f7. And I threw in the towel at this point, move 35. Okay, so extremely complicated game. Once again, congrats to Lego Coffee. I want to say, a lot of times in these especially longer games, if I get beat or have a bad position or my opponent seems to play a series of good moves, often there's a lot of speculation in the comments down below here that they may be using an engine. But I want to stress in this game, I do not think my opponent was using an engine whatsoever. I think he straight up outplayed me, and congrats to him. You can see the evaluation, the various swings. I definitely had plenty of chances here, so please do not insinuate anything like that. I am human. I can lose games, and Lego Coffee took me down today. This is probably one of the worst losses I've ever had in a game on my channel, standard game. And as you guys know, I post everything I play. So you see the good, you see the bad, you see the ugly, and today was pretty ugly. So yeah, just kind of recapping this game overall, I think it was really set by missing queen f7. Even though I had chances after this, the resources were quite complicated. Some of these lines, I'm asking a lot of myself, even though I'm an IM. I'm asking a lot of myself to wade my way through these complications, and when you get hit by unexpected moves like bishop a6 and you only got a minute or two on your clock, it's very hard to figure out what to do. So yeah, got to be a little bit more careful before I play a move like knight g6. I think I was quick to assume that my opponent had blundered with that move, and even though I said I was blunder checking, I didn't quite spend enough time looking at that because I would have noticed queen f7 had I. All right, but I hope you guys enjoyed this game. It was a fun one, and I'll be back again soon with another video. Bye, guys.